The huge round room was silent for a moment. 17 beings from different worlds sat in tall chairs arranged in a circle. Strange lights glowed from the ceiling, casting colored shadows on the marble-like floor. This was the Galactic Assembly, where the most powerful alien races in the galaxy met to make important decisions. Today, they talked about Earth. "The humans worry me," said Skrillex, a tall blue being with 4 arms. Its skin shimmered like water as it moved to the center of the room. "They developed too fast." Skrillex waved one hand, and a 3D image of Earth appeared in the air. It showed cities, oceans, and the lights that covered the night side of the planet. "Look at their progress. 200 years ago, they traveled on horses. 100 years ago, they built their first flying machines. 75 years ago, they split the atom. Now they send robots to other planets. Soon they will reach beyond their solar system." The aliens murmured among themselves. Some sounded worried. Others seemed curious. Norim, who looked like a large cat with feathers instead of fur, stood up. "I disagree with my friend. The humans will destroy themselves before they become a problem. They fight wars. They damage their planet. Their greed will be their end. We cannot take that chance," said Rel, the oldest member of the assembly. His skin was gray and wrinkled, and his 3 eyes blinked slowly. "Remember the Scourge War. Remember how many worlds burned. If humans reach the stars with their violent ways, history might repeat itself." More aliens began to talk at once. Some wanted to help Earth. Others wanted to stop humans from leaving their planet. A few suggested destroying Earth completely, though most thought that was too extreme. "We will watch them more closely," said the assembly leader. "We will gather more information before we decide." Meanwhile, on Earth, Valerie Mitchell didn't know aliens were talking about the fate of her world. She stood in the observatory at NASA's main facility, looking through a powerful telescope. "That's strange," she said to herself. She adjusted some dials and looked again. Near Jupiter, something reflected light in an unusual way. It wasn't a moon or an asteroid. It moved slightly, changing position in a way natural objects didn't. Valerie wrote some notes in her journal. She had been tracking this strange object for 3 weeks now. At first, she thought it was just a new comet, but its movement didn't match any known space object. "Dr. Mitchell." A young man knocked on the door. "The director wants to see your report on the Jupiter anomaly." Valerie nodded and gathered her papers. "Tell him I'll be there in 5 minutes, Paul." When the door closed, she looked through the telescope one more time. The object seemed to shimmer slightly, almost like it was changing shape. What Valerie didn't know was that she was looking at one of the Galactic Assembly's observation posts. The aliens had placed it near Jupiter to watch Earth without being noticed. Their technology normally kept it invisible, but something was causing a small malfunction. Back in the assembly chamber, the debate continued. "We should vote soon," Grell said. "Every day the humans grow more advanced. Every day they get closer to discovering us." "I agree," said Skrillex. "We cannot wait much longer to decide their fate." Little did they know, humans were already starting to notice signs of their presence. And on Earth, in different labs and observatories around the world, other scientists like Valerie were finding more evidence that something strange was happening in their solar system. The aliens believed they controlled humanity's future. They thought humans were just another primitive species to monitor and manage. They were wrong. The decision about humanity's fate wasn't theirs to make. And soon, they would realize it. Frank Benson yawned and rubbed his tired eyes. The night shift at Arecibo Observatory was always long, but tonight felt endless. For 6 hours, he had watched the computer screens, looking for patterns in the radio signals from space. Most nights were quiet. Tonight was different. The computer beeped. Frank sat up straight and looked at the screen. The signal came from somewhere near Jupiter, and it wasn't natural. Natural radio signals from space usually followed certain patterns. This one had structure, like a language. "That's weird," Frank said to himself. He pressed some buttons to record the signal. Then he picked up his phone and called Olivia Reyes. Olivia was a cryptologist who worked for the government. Her job was to break codes and understand hidden messages. She and Frank had been friends since college. "Frank, it's 3 in the morning," Olivia's sleepy voice answered. "I know, and I'm sorry. But you need to see this signal. I've never seen anything like it." 30 minutes later, Olivia walked into the observatory with a coffee cup in her hand. Her curly hair was tied back, and she looked tired but curious. Frank showed her the signal data. Olivia stared at the screen for a long time. "This isn't random," she finally said. "There's a pattern here, like words or sentences." "From Jupiter?" Frank asked. "Not from Jupiter itself. From something near Jupiter." Olivia took a sip of her coffee. "Frank, do you think this could be? I mean, could it be aliens?" Frank wanted to laugh, but he couldn't. The signal was too strange, too organized. "I don't know," he said, "but whatever it is, it's not natural." What Frank and Olivia didn't know was that they had accidentally found a communication channel between alien ships. The Galactic Assembly used special technology to hide their ships from human eyes, but they hadn't fought to hide their radio signals. Humans weren't supposed to be advanced enough to detect them. They were wrong. Far away, in the Galactic Assembly, the debate about Earth continued. The room was now divided into 2 clear groups. On one side stood Ambassador Telva, a gentle being with skin like tree bark. Telva led the preservation faction, a group that believed humans should be left alone to develop on their own. "Every species has the right to follow its own path," Telva said. "Humans are young, but they learn quickly. They could become valuable members of our galactic community." On the other side of the room stood High Commander Crix, a warrior from a world with high gravity. Crix was tall and strong, with hard plates covering his body instead of skin. He led the security faction, which saw humans as a potential threat. "We cannot risk another violent species joining us in space," Crix said. His voice was deep and loud. "We must contain them on their planet, or it will bring war to the stars. Just look at their history." The Assembly watched a series of images showing human wars, weapons, and destruction. "They fight among themselves constantly," Crix continued. "Imagine what they would do to other worlds if they could reach them." The Assembly leader, a wise old being called the Arbiter, raised a hand for silence. "We will put it to a vote," the Arbiter announced. "The fate of humanity will be decided within 1 standard cycle." A standard cycle was about 3 Earth months. The aliens believed this gave them plenty of time. They didn't know that back on Earth, Frank and Olivia were already sharing their discovery with other scientists. They didn't know that Valerie Mitchell had connected with them after hearing about their strange signal. And they certainly didn't know that humans were beginning to piece together the truth. Earth was being watched by beings from another world. The clock was ticking for both sides, but only one side knew the race had begun. Major Ryan Clark checked his instruments one more time. His F-35 fighter jet cut through the clear blue sky at 30,000 feet. It was a routine patrol over Colorado. Nothing special. Then his radar beeped. Something had entered the airspace. "Control, this is Eagle 7. I have an unknown object on my radar, requesting information." The radio crackled. "Eagle 7, this is Control. We see it too. No scheduled flights in that area. Please investigate." Ryan turned his jet toward the blip on his radar. As he got closer, he saw something that made his heart race. A silver craft, smooth and oval-shaped, hung in the air. It had no wings, no engines that he could see. "Control, I have visual on the bogey. It's not one of ours." The silver craft suddenly moved, faster than anything Ryan had ever seen. In seconds, it was beside his jet, flying alongside him. Then a strange voice came through his radio. "Human pilot, we mean no harm. We come with warning." Hundreds of miles away, in Montana, scientist Linda Warren was alone at her research station. She studied climate patterns in the mountains, far from any town. The nearest person was 20 miles away. When she heard a knock on her door, she was confused. No one ever visited without calling first, and the roads were bad after yesterday's snow. Linda opened the door and froze. Standing there was a tall, thin being with pale blue skin and large eyes. It wore a simple silver suit. "Do not be afraid," the being said in perfect English. "I am Emissary Sen of the Preservation Faction. I have come to warn you." Linda couldn't speak. She just stared. "Your species faces judgment," Sen continued. "I am not supposed to be here, but you deserve to know. The Assembly will vote on whether to contain your world or let you join the stars. I believe you deserve the chance to speak for yourselves." In Washington, D.C., the Pentagon was in chaos. Reports were coming in from all over the world. Silver craft had appeared in 12 countries. Alien beings had made contact with ordinary people, not world leaders. General Scott Adams looked at the reports with a grim face. "Do we know what they want?" "They all say the same thing," his aide explained. "They're warning us about something called the Assembly that will decide our fate. They say they're from a group called the Preservation Faction." "Are they hostile?" "No, sir. They've made no aggressive moves. They seem to be helping us." Back in Montana, Linda Warren was still talking to Emissary Sen. She had made tea, and strangely, the alien was drinking it. "The Assembly fears your kind," Sen explained. "They see your wars, your weapons, and they worry you will bring violence to the stars." "Not all humans are violent," Linda said. "Most of us just want to live in peace. I know this. Some of us have studied your art, your music, your stories. There is much beauty in humanity. But others only see the danger. What will happen? The vote will happen in 3 of your months. If the security faction wins, a barrier will be built around your solar system. You will never leave it." Linda felt cold fear. "They can do that." "Yes, the technology exists. But I and others believe this would be wrong. That is why we have come, to warn you, to give you a chance." "A chance to do what?" Sen's large eyes blinked slowly. "To show the Assembly why humanity deserves the stars." That same day, scientists Frank Benson and Olivia Reyes met with Valerie Mitchell from NASA. They shared their findings about the strange signals. "It matches what my contact told me," Valerie said. "There's an alien observation post near Jupiter." "You believe all this?" Frank asked, looking skeptical. Valerie showed them photos from her telescope. "I believe what I see. And now aliens are landing all over Earth. We need to understand why they're here and what this Assembly plans to do." What none of them knew was that their meeting was being watched by both factions of the Assembly. The game had changed. First contact had happened, but not as either side had planned. The final vote in the Galactic Assembly was tense. All 17 alien races had spoken, sharing their views on humanity. Now it was time to decide. "All those in favor of containing Earth, raise your hands," said the arbiter. 9 hands went up. "All those against containment, raise your hands." 8 hands went up. The arbiter looked sad. "The vote is done. Earth will be contained. A barrier will be built around their solar system. Humans will never leave their home stars." Ambassador Telva stood up, her tree-like skin dark with anger. "This is wrong. We cannot trap an entire species." "The vote is final," said High Commander Crix. His hard plates clicked as he moved. "Preparations for the barrier will begin immediately. It will be complete in 1 Earth year." Telva looked at the other members of the Preservation Faction. They nodded to her, a secret signal. They had already made plans in case the vote went this way. "I accept the Assembly's decision," Telva said, though her hearts were heavy. But when the meeting ended, Telva did something no ambassador had done in 1,000 years. She broke Assembly rules. She sent more messengers to Earth with a clear warning. Humans had 1 year before the barrier would trap them forever. On Earth, the United Nations Security Council met in New York. Representatives from 15 countries sat around a large table, faces serious. "We have confirmed contact with extraterrestrial beings," said the Secretary General. "They bring troubling news." The room was quiet as he explained about the assembly, the vote, and the planned barrier. "Some nations think this is a hoax," said the Russian representative. "How can we be sure these aliens tell the truth?" As if answering his question, the lights in the room dimmed. A hologram appeared above the table, a small silver craft that slowly spun in the air. Then the craft grew until it was the size of a car. "This is assembly technology," said a voice. A blue-skinned alien stepped into the room. It was Emissary Sen. "We can show you more if you need proof." No one spoke for a long moment. Then the American representative cleared her throat. "If what you say is true, we have 1 year before this barrier is built." Sen nodded. "Yes. After that, humanity will never leave your solar system." "Is there any way to stop it?" asked the Chinese representative. "The assembly vote is final," Sen said, "but no barrier is perfect." At MIT in Boston, Dr. Elijah Dixon received a special package. Inside was a small silver disc and a note that said, "Study this. Time is short." Elijah took the disc to his lab. His research partner, Hannah Brooks, was waiting. "What is that?" she asked. "I think it's alien technology," Elijah said. He put the disc under a microscope. "The government contacted me yesterday about some visitors from space. I thought they were joking." "Aliens? Real aliens?" Hannah looked both excited and afraid. "Seems so, and apparently they're planning to lock us in our solar system with some kind of barrier." Hannah laughed, then saw his serious face. "You're not kidding." "I wish I was." Elijah showed her the note that came with the disc. "We have 1 year to figure this out." As they studied the disc, something amazing happened. It began to project information into the air, diagrams, numbers, and symbols they didn't understand. "It's going to take time to make sense of this," Hannah said. "Time is the one thing we don't have much of," Elijah replied. Across the world, similar packages arrived at research labs in different countries. The preservation faction was breaking more rules, sharing technology that humans weren't supposed to have. In London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing, and other cities, scientists began studying alien technology. World leaders who were usually enemies started talking to each other. For the first time in history, all of humanity had one common goal: to break free of the cage that was being built around them. The assembly had made their decision, but they didn't realize that humans were already working to undo it. 6 months passed quickly. Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined. Countries that once pointed nuclear weapons at each other now shared research and resources. The Prometheus Initiative brought together the best scientists from every nation. Captain Sofia Rodriguez stood on the bridge of a new ship. It didn't look like normal spaceships from NASA or other space agencies. Its hull was smooth and silver, with strange blue lights glowing along the sides. "Are we ready for launch?" she asked her crew. The 10 men and women came from 7 different countries. All were either military pilots or scientists. "All systems are go, Captain," said her second-in-command, a Russian pilot named Dmitry. Sophia nodded. "Then let's make history." The ship rose silently from its secret base in the Arizona desert. It didn't use rockets or jet engines. Instead, it used technology reverse-engineered from the alien devices the preservation faction had shared. Their mission was dangerous but vital: travel to Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, where intelligence suggested an assembly observation post was hidden. "We're not looking for a fight," Sophia reminded her crew as the ship accelerated toward space. "Just answers." The trip to Jupiter would normally take months or years with human technology. With the new ship, they would arrive in just 3 days. Back on Earth, Dr. Elijah Dixon and Hannah Brooks were making progress. Their lab was filled with strange equipment, a mix of human computers and alien technology. "I think I understand how their barrier would work," Hannah said, pointing to a 3D model floating above their desk. It would change the nature of space around our solar system, like a bubble that nothing can pass through. Elijah nodded. But every field has weaknesses, spots where the energy is thinner. Exactly. We don't need to break their barrier, Hannah explained. We just need to find the weak spots and slip through them. A group of world leaders had gathered to hear their findings. The President of the United States, the Russian President, the Chinese Premier, and others listened carefully. Can we stop them from building this barrier? Asked the British Prime Minister. No, Elijah said honestly. Their technology is too advanced, but we can find a way around it. How? Asked the Indian president. Hannah stepped forward. We're developing a new kind of ship. It can detect the thin spots in the barrier and pass through them. We call it the Needle because it will thread its way through. How many of these ships can we build in 6 months? Asked the Chinese premier. Elijah looked serious. Maybe 5. Not enough to evacuate Earth, but enough to show the assembly that they can't contain us. Meanwhile, near Jupiter, Captain Sophia's ship approached Europa. They used their stealth systems to hide from any alien sensors. I'm picking up strange energy readings, said Lewis, their science officer, coming from the surface near the South Pole. Sophia ordered the ship to move closer. What they found amazed everyone. Hidden under the ice was not just an observation post, but a small research base. Aliens had been studying Earth from here for thousands of years. Look at this, said Natalie, another scientist on the crew. She had hacked into the base's computer system using the knowledge gained from the alien technology. They have records of human history going back to ancient Egypt. They'd been watching us for millennia. The crew downloaded as much information as they could. They learned about the assembly, its history, its technology, and most importantly, its weaknesses. We need to get this back to Earth, Sophia said. This could change everything. As they prepared to leave, an alarm sounded. 3 assembly ships appeared in orbit around Europa. They had been discovered. Evasive action. Sophia ordered. Get us out of here. Their new ship was fast and agile, but the assembly vessels were more advanced. A chase began through the moons of Jupiter, with humanity's future hanging in the balance. News of humans finding the Europa base reached the Galactic Assembly quickly. The large meeting room was filled with angry voices. How did they find our base? Demanded High Commander Crix. His hard plates clicked loudly as he paced. How did they build a ship that could reach Jupiter so fast? Senior observer Skrillex looked nervous. They are more advanced than we thought. Our studies were wrong. They have adapted our technology in just 6 months. This is your fault. Crix pointed at Ambassador Telva. Your faction has helped them. Telva stood tall, her tree-like skin dark with determination. We did what was right. Humans deserve a chance. Your actions are treason, Crix said. The assembly voted. The decision was made. The arbiter raised a hand for silence. What's done is done. We must deal with the situation as it is. How soon can we build the barrier? A scientist stepped forward. The barrier technology requires extensive preparation. We need at least 4 more months. That may be too long, Skrillex warned. At their current rate of progress, humans might develop countermeasures. Crix's eyes narrowed. Then we must act now. I propose we send a military fleet to Earth. Show them our power. Remind them who controls this galaxy. Ambassador Grell, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. A military show of force might make them more cooperative. Humans respond to power. The assembly voted again. This time, the vote was 11-6 in favor of military intervention. It is decided, said the arbiter. We will send a fleet to Earth with orders to demonstrate our power without causing harm. Perhaps then humans will accept their containment peacefully. What the assembly didn't know was that 3 of their emissaries had gone silent. They had either been captured on Earth or, worse, had chosen to help humans instead of reporting back. One of those emissaries was Sen, who now worked with Dr. Elijah Dixon and Hannah Brooks. The Assembly has sent a fleet, Sen told them. They will arrive in 2 weeks. Elijah looked worried. We're not ready for a confrontation. Our new ships are still being tested. Can they harm us? Hannah asked. They won't destroy your planet, Sen explained. But they can disable your technology, block your communications, even create weather disturbances to show their power. Elijah thought for a moment. Then we need to find a way to limit their power. You told us their ships have special engines that allow them to travel faster than light, right? Sen nodded. Yes. The quantum resonance drives are what make interstellar travel possible. And these drives operate on specific frequencies. Yes. Sen's large eyes widened. Are you thinking what I think you're thinking? Elijah smiled. If we can disrupt those frequencies, their ships would be limited to normal physics, just like ours. For the next 2 weeks, scientists around the world worked day and night. They built thousands of small satellites based on Sen's knowledge of assembly technology. William Harris, who owned the world's largest satellite network, offered his resources. We can launch them quickly, he told the United Nations Security Council. We just need to know they'll work. Dr. Gregory Phillips led the team developing the frequency disruption system. In theory, it should work, he explained. But we've never tested it against actual alien ships. It's our best chance, the Secretary General said. We cannot let them intimidate us into accepting imprisonment in our own solar system. As the assembly fleet approached Earth, humanity prepared its defense. Not weapons to destroy the alien ships, but technology to bring them down to humanity's level. In Geneva, world leaders gathered to draft a message. They would not beg. They would not threaten. They would offer something the Assembly had never considered, partnership instead of submission. Captain Sofia Rodriguez and her crew had made it back from Europa with their valuable information. Now she prepared to lead a special mission. If the disruption field worked, she would take humanity's new ship to meet the aliens face to face. The Assembly thought they were coming to show their power. They had no idea what waited for them. The Assembly fleet arrived in Earth's solar system with 20 large ships. They moved past Neptune, then Uranus, then Saturn, heading toward Earth. Their ships were beautiful and terrifying, shaped like giant silver leaves with blue light glowing from inside. On Earth, people could see the ships at night with regular telescopes. They looked like new stars moving across the sky. Some people were afraid, but most were curious. News channels showed the ships all day long. William Harris sat in his company's control room, watching screens filled with data. Thousands of small satellites were now in orbit around Earth, each one carrying special technology designed by Dr. Gregory Phillips. All satellites are in position, said one of the technicians. William nodded. Good. Now we wait for their move. The Assembly fleet stopped just beyond the moon. Then a message came to all radio and television stations on Earth. The alien voice spoke in perfect English. People of Earth, we are the Galactic Assembly. We have watched your world for centuries. Your violent nature concerns us. For the safety of all species, you will remain in your solar system. A barrier will be built. This is not a request. This is what will happen. World leaders gathered in the United Nations building in New York. They had prepared for this moment. The Secretary General spoke into a microphone that would send her words to the alien fleet. We come in peace and wish to negotiate as equals. Then she nodded to William Harris, who was connected by video. Now, William pressed a button. All around Earth, the special satellites activated. They sent out waves of energy tuned to a specific frequency, the frequency that the alien ships' faster-than-light drives used. On the assembly ships, alarms began to sound. The alien captains were confused. Something was interfering with their advanced technology. Systems that had worked perfectly for thousands of years suddenly failed. What is happening? High Commander Crix demanded from his flagship. The humans have created a disruption field, his science officer explained. Our quantum resonance drives are not working. We are limited to basic propulsion now. Impossible. How could they know about our drive frequencies? The answer was clear. The preservation faction had shared more secrets than anyone realized. At a secret base in Florida, Captain Sofia Rodriguez and her crew prepared for launch. Their ship, named Hope, was humanity's first true starship. It used a combination of human innovation and alien principles. All systems ready, Dmitri reported. Sofia took a deep breath. Launch. The Hope rose from Earth, heading toward the assembly fleet. It moved faster than any human ship before it, but not using the same technology as the alien ships. Humans had found a different way to achieve high speeds. In the assembly flagship, High Commander Crix watched the human ship approach. "They have built a ship that can reach us," he said with surprise. "And our weapons are affected by the destruction field too. We cannot destroy them without moving closer." Ambassador Telva, who was also on the flagship, smiled slightly. "Perhaps we should listen to what they have to say." The Hope stopped near the assembly flagship. A transmission came from the human ship. "This is Captain Sofia Rodriguez of Earth. We request a meeting. Not as subjects, but as equals." Crix was angry, but he was also curious. How had humans advanced so quickly? What else might they do if the assembly continued to threaten them? "Very well," he replied. "You may dock with our ship." Sofia and a small team boarded the alien flagship. They brought with them Earth's proposal, prepared by scientists and leaders from around the world. They entered a large room where assembly representatives waited. Crix stood at the center, his hard plates shining under the lights. Telva stood nearby, her tree-like skin glowing with what looked like pride. "You have surprised us, humans," Crix admitted. "No species has ever adapted so quickly to our technology." Sofia stepped forward. "We're not here to fight. We're here to offer something better than conflict." "And what would that be?" Crix asked. Sofia placed a small device on the table between them. It projected an image of Earth, and then showed something that made the aliens gasp. The hologram showed Earth, then zoomed out to show the solar system. Then it showed the barrier that the assembly planned to build around it. But instead of stopping there, the image changed. It showed how the barrier technology could be modified to protect planets from solar radiation, to shield endangered species, and even to temporarily stabilize dying stars. "We've studied your barrier technology," Sofia explained, "and we found new ways to use it that you never considered." The aliens looked at each other in surprise. "Impossible," one of the scientists said. "You've only had this technology for months. We've had it for thousands of years." "Humans think differently," Sofia said. "We look at problems from new angles. We don't just follow established patterns." Crix seemed unsure what to say. This was not how he expected the meeting to go. Sofia continued, "We propose an exchange. Knowledge for knowledge. Technology for technology. Partnership instead of containment." Ambassador Telva stepped forward. "The humans have shown remarkable ability. Perhaps we should listen to their proposal." For the next hour, Sofia and her team explained Earth's offer. Humans would share their innovations if the assembly would welcome Earth as an equal partner in the galaxy. "Your barrier would have kept us contained," Sofia concluded, "but it would also have kept our ideas contained. Is that really what's best for the galaxy?" Crix and the other assembly members asked to discuss in private. Sofia and her team returned to their ship to wait. Back on Earth, people watched the sky anxiously. The future of humanity depended on what happened on that alien ship. Dr. Elijah Dixon and Hannah Brooks sat in their lab, monitoring communications from the Hope. "Do you think they'll accept our offer?" Hannah asked. "I don't know," Elijah replied, "but they'd be fools to reject it. We've already shown them we can adapt their technology in ways they never imagined." After 3 hours, a message came from the assembly flagship. Sofia and her team were invited back aboard. The mood in the assembly room was different now. Even Crix seemed less hostile. "We have considered your proposal," the arbiter said. "It is unprecedented. No species has ever joined the assembly before achieving interstellar travel on their own. But no species has ever adapted so quickly either, added Telva. The Arbiter nodded. We will return to the full assembly with your proposal. The final decision must be made by all 17 species. And the barrier? Sophia asked. Construction will be delayed until a final decision is made, the Arbiter promised. 2 weeks later, the full assembly met in their grand chamber. Ambassador Telva spoke passionately about humanity's potential. She showed the innovations humans had already created using assembly technology. We feared humans would bring chaos to the galaxy, she concluded. Instead, they offer perspectives we have lacked for millennia. Their adaptability isn't a threat. It's exactly what our stagnating cultures need. Many assembly members nodded in agreement. High Commander Crix spoke next. To everyone's surprise, he did not argue for containment. I have seen the humans' capabilities firsthand, he said. Trying to contain them would be futile in the long term. Better to have them as allies than as future enemies. The vote was historic. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Assembly would admit a new member before they had naturally developed interstellar capability. 1 month later, Valerie Mitchell, the astronomer who had first noticed the strange object near Jupiter, became Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Assembly. As she stood in the Grand Chamber, looking at representatives from 17 alien civilizations, she thought about how far humanity had come in just 1 year. The Assembly had argued over humanity's fate, thinking the decision was theirs to make. They never realized that humans would find their own path among the stars, regardless of what any alien council decided. On behalf of Earth, Valerie said to the Assembly, "We look forward to a future of cooperation and shared discovery." The aliens applauded in their various ways. A new era had begun for humanity and for the galaxy. The decision about humanity's fate had never truly been in alien hands. Humans had already decided their own destiny.